A couple people showed up.
Wow.
It turns out I think Star Wars is like moderately popular.
It's like this little indie film.
Now, you've had a chance to meet a few people, right? Coming by your booth so far today?
Yes. Here, we'll sit down.
Yeah, let's have a seat.
I have had the best weekend. Thank you, everyone, for coming up, saying hi, making me feel so welcome. This is only my second time to Vancouver, and I'm in love. Absolutely in love. So I hope it's the second of many more times to come.
I mean, you're a rare breed, an actor who's only been to Vancouver twice.
It's true. It's true. Well, I've had the privilege of filming in Toronto before.
Oh, right.
And then I actually lived in Toronto for about 5 months.
Right.
My husband played for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grounded a few balls, right? A couple.
A little bit. So I do have some, Canada roots.
Got one Toronto Blue Jays hat in the back of the closet, which is real nice. Ashley, it's incredible having you here, and thank you so much for joining us. And you've been so friendly with everyone visiting and coming up to say hello. Before we take some questions, and we do have 2 microphones on either side of the stage, so we're going to kind of go like, 1, 2, back and forth. We do ask that, of course, you take some pictures of Ashley on stage, but please no flash photography, and you're also not supposed to film. So we'll just point that out. I just tell me to say that. But Ashley, before we take a question, just a personal one, just because I saw here, and I don't want to get a little too TMZ, but when you got married, you had your wedding reception in Disney World. Like, how is that even a thing? Like, you literally have to be in Star Wars?
No, not at all. It's a division of Disney called Disney Fairy Tale Weddings.
And you could have a wedding reception there?
Yes, you can. So my wedding reception wasn't actually in the parks, but you can. For the right price, you can have your wedding reception or wedding ceremony right in front of Cinderella's castle if you want to.
Okay.
I had I had my wedding reception at one of the Disney hotels.
Wow.
And it was my dream come true. I'm a massive, massive Disney fan. Have been my whole life, and so yes, anything is possible, especially all of your wedding dreams.
I would just want my midnight snack at the wedding to be the churro cart, and then I think I'd be happy.
So, actually, I did have a churro cart in my wedding reception. I love churros.
Icon. All right, let's take some questions, Ashley, from the people.
Okay.
They've all been lined up here to talk to you today.
Sounds good.
Which side do we want to start? It's hard for us to see.
Okay, let's start over here and say your name if you can, and then tell us your question. Hi, Olivia.
I actually met you earlier.
Yes.
My phone's gonna unlock here. So my question was, Ahsoka is such a unique character, especially in the Clone Wars, because we get to see her grow from a young Padawan who's snippy and really kind of like follows her emotions into like a fully realized and mature Jedi. And so especially for young girls who resonated with her, there's a real lesson to be found in about personal growth and about learning from your mistakes. Are there any lessons in personal growth that you took away from playing Ahsoka or from even just working as a voice actor on the set of Star Wars: The Clone Wars?
Oh gosh, great question. That's a big question. And there's many things. I mean, to pick just one is very hard. Even though I think we talked about this, I wasn't a kid when I started voicing Ahsoka. I was 25, actually. But I still feel like I grew up with her. I've been voicing Ahsoka for 17 years, so it's been a huge chunk of my life. And so I do feel like I grew up with her and learned so much from her. I would say, for me personally, one of the lessons that was most profound, growing up as a kid, my parents always taught us the number one rule in our house was the golden rule, where you treat others as you want to be treated. And my parents were very strict about that. We always had to be kind. But, especially I think as a girl sometimes, when you're kind, that's viewed as a weakness. Because they always say, like, oh, you're too kind. You're too kind. You need to be tough. And so I never associated kindness as a power, as being powerful. I associated kindness as a weakness. And it didn't stop me from being kind, but being tough and being kind, to me, was like an oxymoron. And it wasn't until Ahsoka that I realized that kindness is powerful. And that's actually what makes Ahsoka so powerful, is her kindness. And, you know, yes, she's unbelievably skilled with her lightsabers. I mean, she can take an Inquisitor down like none other. She takes on Vader. But it's her desire and her ability to be genuine and kind and to help people. One of my favorite lines is, in my life, when you find people who need your help, you help them, no matter what. I guess it's just who I am. And I love that line, and it became my own personal motto. So, thank you.
Which season was your favorite to film in the Clone Wars?
Oh, that's a good question, too. Well, it's a close tie. I mean, I will say season 7 was absolutely amazing. Did you all like the final season of Clone Wars? Yes? Season 7 was amazing because our show was canceled. And, you know, we never thought we'd be able to finish the Clone Wars. We never thought we'd have the chance to go back and wrap it up. And it ended on such a cliffhanger. So when we came back for season 7, it was truly a gift. And we literally got to like savor every moment. And I didn't let a single moment pass me by. Like, I really appreciated it. But I would say season 5 is my personal favorite. I would say my all-time favorite Ahsoka moment is Ahsoka walking away from the Jedi Order. In my opinion, in many ways, saved her life. And it also put her on the path to become who she was truly meant to be. So I love that moment.
I'm really interested what, like, your opinion on, like, why Ahsoka, like in Rebels, why she never took on a Padawan? Or do you think it was because she was too traumatized from it? She knew what it was like to, like what had happened with Order 66. Do you have, like, your own personal opinions on why she did that, or did Filoni actually confirm why she never did?
Well, to my knowledge, Dave never confirmed why she never did. And that's a good question. I never asked that question. And let me preface by saying, especially anything to do with story or speculation, these are only my opinions because I feel like Dave Filoni is always watching. So, this is me as a fan speaking.
Ashley's opinion.
Yes, this is just my opinion. But I will say that Ahsoka in Rebels, you know, as we hear her say, "I'm no Jedi." She is, yes, thank you. But she is very clearly no Jedi. And she doesn't want to be a Jedi. You know, in fact, from what I did ask, you know, the fact that her lightsabers are white is the fact that she's neutral. You know, she's not a Jedi. She's not a Sith. She just wants to help people, no matter what. And I think, you know, Ahsoka she's her own thing. She's on her own journey. And so, you know, she was one of the founders of the rebellion. She did help out the Jedi. And I think, obviously, we've seen in live action, eventually Ahsoka, you know, team up with Luke and Grogu. And so I think there's many, 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 many questions that are left unanswered. But I think it's really important that Ahsoka is on her own journey and doing her own thing. But in terms of why she didn't train or take on anyone, I don't know. And that's a great question for Dave Filoni.
If you could be any other character in the Clone Wars other than Ahsoka, who would it be?
Ooh, that's a great question. Any other character in the Clone Wars? Well, you know, I never really thought about that too much because Ahsoka's a pretty cool character. I did get to voice some other characters. So there's a droid named K2B4, and it was named after Kobe Bryant, actually. So Kobe Bryant 24, and it's K2B4. So that was pretty cool that I got to voice a droid. But oh my gosh, you might have stumped me. You know, I will say, she was voiced by an incredible actress, so I would never want to take anyone's job. So, but I do love the character of the daughter. And so the daughter in the Mortis trilogy gave up her life for Ahsoka. And I've always loved the character of the daughter. So, so yeah, I mean, maybe if Morai ever needed someone to do a voice, maybe Morai, that would be kind of cool. But one character is funny. A bunch of fans say, oh gosh, and forgive me, it's one of the characters from High Republic. Chris, help me out from High Republic. Anyone read the High Republic books? Yes, Avar Chris? Yes, Avar Chris from the High Republic books. I don't think anyone has played that character yet, and that'd be a really cool character to play.
What made you decide to make a clothing store for women?
That is a great question. Well, as I mentioned, I've been doing the voice of Ahsoka for 17 years, so a very long time. And back when I started voicing Ahsoka, I've always been a Star Wars fan, like a big Star Wars fan. And I wanted Star Wars clothes made for me. And I quickly realized that they did not exist. That back then, all the Star Wars clothes were just made for men and boys. And I was told that women would not buy merchandise made for them, so I should be happy with the men's size small. And I thought, that can't be right, because I've been going to conventions ever since 2007. And whenever I would go, I would see women and girls everywhere. And it seemed like it was 50-50. So I started doing my research, and I found out, this is back in 2009, I found out that 45% of all sci-fi and fantasy fans were women and girls. Yes. And now I think it's pretty much 50-50, by the way. That was back in 2009. And then 85% of all consumer purchases were being made by women. So the women are the ones doing the buying, and that statistic still kind of holds true today. So I'm like, I'm not a mathematician, but these numbers are not adding up. If you make us stuff, we will buy it. But I knew nothing. Oh, okay. I was like, oh, is somebody else walking up on stage? So I read story after story of women and girls. This was back when message boards were really big. And of women and girls being bullied, and being bullied terribly for just being a Star Wars fan. And I thought, that's no way to live. Because I think we all know here, if you're at a Comic-Con, being a fan is a part of you. It's like a part of your heart, and it's a part of your soul. It's not just something that you're into one day and out of the next. It's a lifestyle. And so to be bullied for something that's just a part of you is not a way to live. And so I literally asked myself, what would Ahsoka do? And my answer was that Ahsoka would stand up for fangirls. And so I started HerUniverse. I knew nothing about business. I knew nothing about licensing, but I learned on the job. And it was really just to eventually say, which I think we're here today, that this world that we all love so much, it's not just for men and boys. It's not just for women and girls. It's for everyone. It's for anyone who identifies as a fan. And so that was my mission. And I think we've come a long way since then.
So I started watching Clone Wars in 2009, and growing up with the show, my favorite part was like that brotherly, sisterly bond between Anakin and Ahsoka. And I mean, I really saw like my little sister in her when I was watching her. And I just wanted to know if you kind of felt that bond as well. And I especially felt it like season 7 when Anakin met her for the last time, and when she was about to go. It was so sad. It was like she was all grown up, you know, and you kind of had to let go of her. And I felt that same feeling when I sent my sister off to college. So I wanted to know, like, what was the emotions that were going on during that scene, I guess, yeah.
Well, first of all, you're stuck with me, Sky Guy. Yeah, that's one of my favorite lines. I absolutely love the bond between Anakin and Ahsoka. And so you're right on. That's such a great question. And first of all, Matt Lanter and James Arnold Taylor are so sad that they are not here this weekend. They are sending the Force our way. They were both working, unfortunately. That's why they couldn't attend. But if Matt were here, you would see that Matt and I are like Anakin and Ahsoka. We very much have like a brother-sister relationship, and it's very real. You know, part of that bond is because we actually recorded as a cast. So every single episode we did, we were in the same studio together. So we really had the chance to form a bond and a very strong brother-sister relationship that still is an unbreakable bond to this day. So all of the emotions in scenes like Ahsoka walking away from the Jedi Order, or even in Star Wars Rebels with the fight between Anakin and Ahsoka, those emotions are very real, very real. You know, and not even just with Anakin and Ahsoka, with all the characters, but you know, for example, the fight between Anakin and Ahsoka in Rebels, I mean, I was legitimately really crying. My heart was beating outside of my chest. And as Ahsoka was saying goodbye to Anakin, I was saying goodbye to Matt. And so yeah, I mean, we really tried to bring our heart and soul into all of those scenes. But it actually was pretty easy because the emotions were real.
My question is, what was your favorite part about being a part of the Clone Wars?
Ooh. My favorite part about being a part of the Clone Wars, and I would just say Star Wars in general, is definitely this. And I don't mean this as like on stage answering questions. I mean the fact that I get to be here and share my love of Star Wars with all of you. After being announced as the voice of Ahsoka, well, not being announced, actually, the Clone Wars was out in movie theaters for only 2 weeks. I started getting fan mail from all around the world. And it was Star Wars fans just welcoming me to the Star Wars universe and welcoming me to the Star Wars family. And that's how it's been ever since the very beginning. I feel like I've gained a family of fans from around the world. And I'm so very grateful. You've absolutely changed my life. And I just want to thank each and every one of you, not just me, but also my family. That's why I'm here at these conventions. I love meeting everyone. I love hearing your stories. I love meeting people who love Ahsoka as much as I do. So this brings me joy, absolutely. And being here is for sure my favorite part.
My question is, initially I read that Filoni was planning on making Ahsoka return to the Jedi Order. You said earlier that you think Ahsoka is her own thing. She's kind of like a neutral Jedi. But at first, when you got the script that she was going to leave the Jedi Order, what did you think? Like, did that make sense to you at the time?
Ooh, y'all have some great questions today. Well, first of all, welcome to the Star Wars family, being so new. And I'm excited for you that you're at season 2 of Rebels. You have some fun things ahead.
Oh, God.
Yeah. But let's see. Oh my gosh, my brain went to literally what episodes you were about to watch next. I had a squirrel moment.
You can spoil me. It's okay. Yeah, I already know what's going to happen anyway.
Tell me the last part of your question again. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, sure. So what were your thoughts when you got the script that Ahsoka was going to leave?
Yes. Well, of course I was sad, incredibly sad. Part of the reason I was sad was we were continuing to record. The series was not supposed to end after season 5. So we were pretty much done with season 6 when we were canceled. But that meant that since I wasn't in a lot of season 6, that I wasn't going to see my cast and see my Star Wars family for like a year. And so similar to Ahsoka, probably the sadness that she felt walking away, after I finished the season 5 finale episode, I was incredibly sad. It's like my family was going to continue to go on and play without me. But there was sadness there, but then I was so proud of Ahsoka for standing up and in her mind, choosing to do the right thing. And I remember asking Dave Filoni, I said, well, did she make the right choice? Was it the right choice? Like, I want to know. And he's like, well, that doesn't matter. It was the right choice for her. In her mind, that was the right choice for her. And she didn't trust the Jedi Order, and she didn't trust herself. And so she needed to walk away. She needed the time away. And so that really stuck with me too. It's like, well, you know, and I think all of us can relate. We can relate to things in our own life. And, you know, you got to go with your gut. I like to say that's our superpower, that we already have all of the right answers. It's actually in our gut. It's just whether we choose to listen to it or not. And in Ahsoka's gut, she needed to walk away. And I was so proud of her that she did.
Now, before Clone Wars, you did have a recurring role as Muffy on That's So Raven, and
Yes.
also had I believe, a couple of recurring roles as Susan on Drake and Josh. You know, both,
Yes.
you know, both amazing shows. So
Thank you.
my question's a bit of a two-parter. So, since you've worked on two different sitcoms that have, you know, been on Disney and on Nickelodeon, which would you say would be the biggest difference, you know, working with Disney and Nickelodeon? And how does it feel knowing that, you know, Clone Wars, Drake and Josh Raven, that you've been recurring on 3 different shows that basically shaped our generation?
Oh, well, thank you. Alana said that she likes Fan Expo Vancouver. So I loved That's So Raven. I was a Disney kid, as you know, we talked about Disney up here. When I moved to LA, I was 19 years old, but I legitimately looked 13. And it was my dream to be on the Disney Channel. I didn't want to win an Oscar. I just wanted to be on the Disney Channel. So it was definitely a dream come true. I loved That's So Raven. That was probably, next to Star Wars, one of my favorite things I've done. I also loved Drake and Josh. I mean, I mostly did comedy before I became the voice of Ahsoka. So I did a couple different series. I did a lot of sketch comedy. I love making people laugh. I like to laugh. I was always laughing in the studio with Ahsoka. Dave would make me do something before every single episode. He would say, okay, Eckstein, come in here. And he's like, I need you to ball up your cuteness. He called my laughing my cuteness. And he's like, I need you to ball up your cuteness. And I would ball it up. And then he's like, and throw it out the studio. So I would do that pretty much before every episode. And I'd have to become a bit more serious. But I'd always bug Dave. And I'm like, can Ahsoka just laugh more? Why can't she laugh? So yeah, thank you for asking. It's been a dream come true to be a part of such iconic shows. And just never thought I'd be here 15 years later talking about Ahsoka.
So, Ahsoka's fate has been left up, has been uncertain because season 5 got canceled. We didn't know what happened to her, and then we saw her again back in Rebels, and then at the end of season 2, again, we were left on a cliffhanger, and then we didn't see her for a couple more episodes. I think it was an entire season. But were you told right away that Ahsoka would be returning, or did Dave keep you in the dark about that?
So at various points, yes and no. So things like Ahsoka walking away from the Jedi Order, I did know that she was going to come back in season 6, but between Ahsoka walking away from the Jedi Order and Star Wars Rebels, there was a long period of time where I did not know that Ahsoka was going to be in Star Wars Rebels. And then, sorry, spoiler for the people that haven't seen all of Rebels, but after that scene, with Vader, I didn't know where she was walking to. I didn't know if Ahsoka lived or if she didn't. So and he didn't tell me. So Dave liked to play with my emotions. Somebody wore a sweatshirt today that said, I'm emotionally damaged from Dave Filoni. Yes. And I thought that sweatshirt was hysterical because he has for sure played with my emotions over the years. So yeah, I love her like you all do. And I'm just as much on the edge of my seat as everyone else. So yeah, many tears have been shed over this character.
So I started watching Star Wars through Rebels. That's how I got to know Ahsoka. And I was just wondering how you felt about seeing your character enter the live-action realm, like with The Mandalorian, and now she's getting her own series.
You know, it's absolutely incredible to see how far Ahsoka's come and to see her appear in live action, and then the fact that she's getting her own series. You know, for the longest time, I would tell people that, you know, I play the character Ahsoka Tano, and they'd be like, who? You know, so to now say Ahsoka Tano, and pretty much everyone knows who she is really, really incredible. So I'm very excited about the live action series that's about to come. I actually got to go visit the set. So I didn't film a cameo. Everyone's been asking me all weekend long, are you filming a cameo? So I did not film a cameo in season 1, but maybe fingers, toes crossed for season 2. That would be an absolute dream come true. But I got to visit the set, and it was very exciting. It was amazing, actually. And Rosario Dawson was just lovely and looked incredible as Ahsoka. So I'm very, very, very excited about what's ahead. But I hope that encourages more people to go back and watch her origin story and go back and watch Clone Wars and Rebels, because I feel like if people don't go back and watch the animated shows, they're completely like in the dark now. Because there's so many references that if you don't know the animated shows, you don't know what's going on.
I just want to start off by saying that the Clone Wars like really shaped me and my brother's entire childhood. We like rewatched it a few different times, and it's really brought us super close together. So thank you for being a part of that.
That's amazing.
And I did want to ask, who's your favorite clone commander?
Oh, well, I always have to go with Captain Rex. Yes. The bond between Ahsoka and Rex is unlike anything. And I'm very close with Dee Bradley Baker. You know, it's funny, Dee is just a legend in the voiceover world. And Ahsoka was my first big voiceover role ever. And so when she says the line, so if you're a captain and I'm a Jedi, then technically I outrank you, right? And he tells her that experience outranks everything. That really epitomizes Dee and me. He really taught me the ropes, just like Captain Rex taught Ahsoka. Dee taught me a lot about voiceover. And then to see how far they come together when they salute in season 7, and she says, you know, what does she say? Oh gosh. What was her line? I've been saying it all weekend. Conbrain. She says, the Republic couldn't have asked for better soldiers, nor I a better friend. I love that line. And then, of course, when they come back together in Rebels is really special. So yeah, I gotta go with my boy, Captain Rex.
My question was just, given everything that happens, how do you think Ahsoka would react to like Anakin's Force ghost? So like having like everything happened and like sort of getting closure, him visiting her as a ghost, she react?
Yeah. Again, that's a question for Dave Filoni, because I'm sure he has. In his mind, he has plans for all of that. But I will say this, and this is where Ahsoka and I are very similar. She would never give up on him, ever. You know, she always wants what's best for people, and she wants what's best for the people she loves. She forgives. There's an incredible Barriss Offee here. Barris, are you here? I don't know. She's a part of the 501st. But we had a chance to talk at my table about, you know, I would love to see Ahsoka and Barris come back together, and I'd love to see that conversation between the two of them. Ahsoka would forgive. And so, yeah, I think obviously she would be so happy to hear about the rest of Anakin's journey, however Dave Filoni chooses to tell that. But she always wants what's best, and that's truly what's in her heart.
I just wanted to ask, like, I know that you probably have answered this before, but with being not cast in the live action, was that really sad for you? Like, how did you feel? I don't know if Disney even offered to have you audition or what, so.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for asking. It was sad. I'm gonna be honest. I was sad, I was disappointed. I did not get to audition. I found out after the fact. But here's what I will say. Ahsoka has always been bigger than me. I'm just one member of a giant Team Tano, a lot of people that it takes to bring Ahsoka to life. And I will always celebrate this character continuing on with or without me because she means so much to people. And I know Ahsoka is changing lives and she's saving lives. So while, yes, I was disappointed, and would I love to play Ahsoka in live action? Absolutely. Would I love to be in live action? Absolutely. I think it's hilarious, the comments where I read, they're like, well, maybe she turned it down. I would not turn it down. However, I will always celebrate and applaud any new Ahsoka stories. And I'll tell you what, when I met Rosario Dawson, we literally, it was like a scene in a movie. We like ran towards each other and we hugged for like 2 minutes straight. And we held each other's hands and we took the most awesome photo that we can't show yet because she was wearing something that can't be seen. But one day, you're gonna be able to see this photo, and in that photo is so much love and so much support, because all I ever wanna do is support anyone that is a part of Team Tano, and that includes all of you.
My question was, in season 7, obviously, during the Mandalore arc at the end of the season, we have the first real character interaction between Ahsoka and Maul, which a lot of people probably agree with me on this, but are really two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
Seeing as how they were both members of the Jedi and Sith respectively and were either removed or left their respective orders. And my question was, what was that like for you and Sam Witwer to be in character and really have those interactions? Because in the show, there was a point where Ahsoka genuinely listened to what Maul was saying up until the point where he brings up Anakin falling to the dark side, is where her believing what he's saying really stops.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Sam Witwer's amazing. If you get the chance to meet him, definitely go meet Sam. He is the biggest Star Wars fan. So bring like your hardest Star Wars questions and bring them to Sam Witwer, because
Play the Force Unleashed games. It's
yes. No, he's incredible. He's incredible. But yeah, when Sam gets into character, Sam is like the nicest guy, but when he gets into character, he's scary. Like, he's legitimately scary. So when Ahsoka and Maul, I mean, were facing off, those scenes, they were intense for sure. I actually have to say, those were some difficult scenes for me, because I wanted to be more emotional. But Ahsoka, at that point, had so much confidence and quiet confidence that we had to do those scenes a couple times. You know, I wanted to be like, your vision is flawed. But instead she read it, your vision is flawed. Two very different ways to read it. And I think where Ahsoka is at in season 7, she has a lot more confidence than she did in the beginning of the Clone Wars. So those were some fun scenes to film, and I hope y'all enjoyed it. That fight between Ahsoka and Maul, how incredible was that? Yeah.
And as kind of a part of that question, was that voiceover done in the same room? Were you actually across from each other in character interacting for the first time as your characters?
So I'm actually glad you asked this question, because usually we would be, but actually no, we weren't. Sam was actually filming something right here in Vancouver. So Sam was in a studio in Vancouver and I was in LA, and we were reading together at the same time, but via Skype. So we were performing it via Skype, and then his studio was recording his lines and mine were recording mine. So we also had to make sure that we weren't stepping on each other's lines because of the Skype delay. So it was a little tricky, but we still got to record it together.
When it comes to the voice actor for the clones, Dee Bradley Baker, when you were having conversations, let's say, with Jesse, Cody, or Rex, did it feel emotionally different when talking to the different clones? Or did it all feel the same since it was the same voice actor to you?
You know what? That's such a good question, because no one's ever asked me that before. They ask Dee. You know, they ask Dee, like, how do you do different voices for different clones? But that's a great question, because yes, it does impact my performance depending on what clone, because it also is what rank they are and their relationship with each other. You know, how Ahsoka talks to Captain Rex is, you know, gonna be different than she's gonna talk to even Commander Cody. So, so yeah, I would have to know, okay, who is this clone? Is this someone that she just met? Is this someone she has a relationship with? And so that would affect my performance with the clones.
Okay, thank
Great
you so much.
question.
Have a good day.
Thank
All
you.
right, well, thank you so much for being here and hanging out with everyone.
Oh my gosh.
Sharing such incredible stories.
Thank you all. And Jeremy, thank you.
Just hanging out with you. So
Yes.
that's easy. All right, you guys are awesome.
Thank you so much for a great weekend, everyone, and may the force be with you.